This farmer just discovered something gigantic under his cornfield that shocked the whole world. It's not just archaeologists who uncover interesting finds. Sometimes, farmers going about their daily work come across astonishing things. From a rare Viking sword to a mysterious statue, here are 20 unsettling discoveries made by farmers. Number 20. Mysterious statue. On October 15, 2022, Erkan Turb, a potato farmer, was working his field near the northern Tianan Mountains in eastern Kyrgyzstan when his plow hit a massive rock so tough that it broke his plow. Curious, he decided to inspect the rock. After digging it out of the ground, he quickly realized that he had stumbled upon something quite extraordinary. He discovered a statue that stood 10 feet tall and is considered a significant relic from the era of the nomadic Turks who once roamed and controlled the region now known as Kyrgyzstan. This statue was known as a balbal in the past. These figures were typically used by nomadic Turkic tribes as memorial or grave markers. These stone statues often depict warriors and were erected to honor the dead. The statue discovered by Turb features a warrior adorned with a helmet and armor, one hand holding a short sword and the other folded across the chest. This specific posture hints that the grave it used to mark belonged to an important individual. With their nomadic lifestyle, artifacts and relics left behind by the nomadic Turks are hard to come by. That's why this discovery is significant not only to researchers and historians but also to locals who honor the predecessors that once roamed their lands. Who knows just how many of these grave markers are hidden across the expanse, waiting to be discovered. Number 19. 3,400-year-old Minoan Tomb. Earlier this year, a Greek farmer on the island of Crete was parking his car beneath an olive tree when the ground suddenly gave way. What's more unexpected, however, was the fact that this incident turned into a fortunate discovery. It turned out that beneath the ground was a 3,400-year-old Minoan tomb. Further excavations revealed that the tomb was an intact burial site from the Bronze Age and contained the remains of 2 Minoan men along with a collection of artifacts. The tomb was carved into soft limestone and sealed with stone masonry and was made between 1400 and 1200 BCE. Thanks to its hidden location, it remained intact for millennia, allowing researchers today to study it properly and learn more about its history. Inside, the archaeologists found 2 larnakes, which are intricately embossed clay coffins, a common burial practice among the Minoans. Surrounding these coffins were colorful funerary vases, including 14 amphorae and a bowl. With these artifacts, it's likely that the individuals buried in this tomb were of high status. Despite the scare the collapsing ground caused the farmer, it was still an incredibly fortunate discovery. If it weren't for the fact that the tomb remained hidden, it would have fallen victim to looters and tomb raiders in the past. Number 18. Green yolks. Egg yolks can range in color from orange to yellow, but a green yolk is definitely something unexpected. But that's exactly what a farmer in Kerala, India, discovered. For some bizarre reason, his chickens started laying eggs with green yolks. The farmer claimed that the phenomenon started out of the blue. One day, he was harvesting the eggs of his hens on his small poultry farm as per usual, but when he cracked one of them open to cook it, he was stunned by the green yolk at the center. Of course, his number one concern was whether the eggs would be safe to consume, and so he decided to hatch the eggs instead of selling or cooking them. Interestingly, the chicks that hatched from these eggs also started laying green-yolked eggs, and so this problem was never solved. With his uncertainty about whether the eggs would be safe to sell, he took his concern to social media where the eggs quickly went viral. Luckily, the farmer got his answer through this. The Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University, KVASU, sent experts to investigate the farm and collect samples for analysis. Their initial hypothesis was that the green coloration might be due to something in the chicken's diet, possibly a naturally occurring plant or herb consumed by the birds. This turned out to be the case. Further investigation revealed that when the hens were fed a controlled diet provided by the university, the yolk color returned to normal yellow. This confirmed the theory that the green yolks were indeed linked to the hen's diet. One potential culprit identified was a plant known as karate, a common herb in the area that could impart a green hue to the yolks. Despite the odd color, Shahabuddin and his family have consumed the green-yolked eggs without any adverse effects, noting that they taste just like regular eggs. I don't know about you, but I'm not too keen on eating soft-boiled eggs with green yolks. There's just something bizarre about that. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Number 17. Lost sheep returns. Since we're already on the topic of farm animals, here's another intriguing story about one. Dogs and cats are known to be capable of finding their way home. After all, if you treat an animal right, they'll always choose to find you and be with you. Prickles, it seems, recognized only one owner, and she was determined to find them. In 2013, Prickles fled her home during the devastating bushfires that ravaged Tasmania, Australia. The bare-faced merino sheep roamed around for 7 years, unkempt and unguided. Now, Prickles' owners, the Greys, occasionally spotted Prickles on their night vision cameras but never expected her to return. That changed during a family barbecue in April 2020, when they noticed a large, fluffy figure on the other side of their property. Prickles had grown a massive wool coat, having missed 7 years of shearing cycles. This woolly growth caused her to balloon to about 5 times the size of a typical sheep. While she looked cute, this amount of wool was incredibly uncomfortable for her to have. Her return was a surprise for the Grey family, who quickly undertook the task of capturing and shearing her. Prickles' wool had collected a variety of dirt and debris, which earned her the fitting name. Despite her time in the wild, Prickles was in good health and adjusted back to farm life, spending her days with other animals on the property. Number 16. Giant guitar. In the heart of Argentina's pampas is a giant guitar. However, this isn't an ordinary guitar. Rather, this creation is made entirely out of planted trees. This incredible creation is the work of Pedro Martin Ureta, an Argentine farmer who planted over 7,000 cypress and eucalyptus trees in memory of his late wife, Graciela Irizos. Now that's true love for you. This project began in the 1970s when Graciela, who had a passion for music, had a vision of transforming their farmland into the shape of a guitar. Tragically, she passed away in 1977 at the young age of 25 before they could bring her dream to life. Driven by grief, Ureta pushed himself to fulfill his late wife's desire. With the help of his 4 children and farmhands, they've created this guitar-shaped forest that's best visible from above. Number 15. Golf ball-sized blueberry. Recently, an Australian farm has accomplished a pretty impressive feat, growing the world's largest blueberry. I mean, these blueberries are the size of golf balls. These ultra berries were cultivated by the Costa Group at their farm in Sindhi, New South Wales. They weigh a staggering 20.4 grams, approximately 10 times the weight of an average blueberry. The gigantic berry, which measures over 39 millimeters in diameter, belong to the Eternity variety, known for producing consistently large and flavorful fruit. This particular variety was developed through Costa's Variety Improvement Program to meet the growing consumer demand for larger blueberries, which are increasingly popular as a snack as well as for traditional uses in baking and breakfast. But how's the taste? It's as delicious as a quality blueberry, and it also has the same long shelf life. Number 14. World's oldest chicken. Meet the world's oldest chicken, Peanut. In fact, until Christmas Day of last year, she was the oldest living chicken. She passed at the age of at least 21 years and 238 days, and until her last breath, she was surrounded by her family. Peanut was born in the spring of 2002 on a farm in Chelsea. The way she came into the life of her human caretakers is actually quite interesting. It all began when Marcy Parker Darwin, a retired librarian, discovered a seemingly cold and abandoned egg. She was about to discard it when she heard a faint sound from inside. She carefully peeled back the shell to reveal a tiny living chick that had been left behind by its mother. Peanut, a bantam hen, was missing her egg tooth, the essential part of the beak that chicks use to break out of their eggs. Despite this rough start, she thrived under Darwin's care. For the first few years, Peanut lived inside the house, nurtured and protected before moving to an outdoor coop, where she spent 13 years laying eggs and raising chicks. Now, usually, Peanut's kind lives for about 5 to 10 years, and yet surprisingly, Peanut lasted twice her life expectancy. Her owners believed that her vitality and longevity were attributed to Peanut's diet, which consisted of blueberry yogurt mixed with vitamin D, bananas, grapes, and fresh vegetables. Peanut also enjoyed special treatment during winter, preferring the warmth of Darwin's house to the outdoor coop. I'm sure that no matter where Peanut is, she still remembers the care and love of her family. This also goes to show that dogs and cats aren't the only pets you can have. Sometimes your best friend can be a straight-up chicken. Number 13. 2,600-year-old stone slab. In 2021, a farmer living near Ismailia in northeastern Egypt made a remarkable discovery while preparing his land for cultivation. A 2,600-year-old steel, or stone slab, dating back to the reign of Pharaoh Apries, 589 to 570 BCE. The slab measured approximately 91 centimeters long and 41 centimeters wide, and features a depiction of a winged sun disk and a cartouche bearing the name of Pharaoh Apries. Beneath the carvings were also 15 lines of hieroglyphic text. This slab is believed to be connected to a military campaign led by Apries, possibly relating to conflicts described by the ancient historian Herodotus. During Apries' reign in the 26th dynasty, he faced significant challenges, including a failed attempt to aid King Zedekiah of Judah against the Babylonians and a subsequent civil war in Egypt that ultimately led to his overthrow by a general named Amasis. After the farmer reported his find to local authorities, experts from the Ismailia Antiquities District confirmed its authenticity. Archaeologists are now working to translate the hieroglyphs in hopes of learning more about Pharaoh Apri's reign. Number 12. Rare Charlemagne coin. There was another discovery back in 2022. A rare 1,200-year-old silver coin was discovered by a French farmer in his grandfather's collection. Now, what made this silver coin more valuable is that it depicts the likeness of Charlemagne. This makes this coin one of the only known portraits made of the emperor during his lifetime. In need of funds to build a house, he decided to auction the coin on eBay. Experts from the Route Charlemagne, a group of museums in Aachen, Germany, recognized the coin's historical significance and placed a successful bid. The coin depicts Charlemagne with a laurel on his head, styled like a Roman emperor, which was quite unusual for Frankish kings. Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great, ruled from AD 768 to 814, and was instrumental in uniting much of Western and Central Europe after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. He was crowned Emperor of the Romans on Christmas Day in AD 800. As one of the key figures in history, anything related to the late emperor is considered valuable. So if you discover something in your family heirlooms that bears his face, you might have an incredibly valuable item in your possession. Number 11. Charcoal cheddar cheese. Again, this isn't technically a discovery but more of a creation. If you live in Leicestershire, England, perhaps you've known about this unusual cheese for a while. You see, this cheese is surprisingly made with real activated charcoal. Well, I don't know what's more unique than that. This unusual ingredient gives the cheese a striking jet black appearance that contrasts sharply with its creamy texture. Despite its unconventional look, charcoal cheese has been well received by customers who describe its flavor as a rich and mature cheddar with a smooth, creamy finish. The idea for this unique cheese originated from Michael Lee Fine Cheeses, who aimed to create a black cheese that was both visually intriguing and delicious. The charcoal not only gives the cheese its distinctive color, but also adds a subtle earthy undertone to the taste. The combination has proved to be a hit, earning the cheese the Best New Idea award at the Farm Shop and Deli Show in 2014. I'm not exactly enthusiastic about tasting food that strays away from its usual color, but I think I'm willing to give this one a try. Number 10. Rat King. A rat king is a bizarre and, I dare say, stomach-turning phenomenon where multiple rats become entangled by their tails. This phenomenon has been documented since the 16th century, and despite its long history, its mystery remains. You see, the authenticity of this phenomenon is still debatable. It was theorized that this phenomenon happens when the tails of rats become stuck together by sticky substances such as sap, dirt, or even their own excretions and then further entangle as the rats struggle to free themselves. This can lead to a grisly situation where all the individual rats are forced to live and move as a single entity, as a rat king. There have been several sightings in history, but among the most recent is this sighting by farmer Razov in a flooded patch of his land in the Stabo region of Russia. The farmer saw rats wriggling in a cluster with their tails tightly bound together. Luckily, in the case of these rats, they still had hope. Razov carefully removed them from the water and attempted to untangle their tails, eventually managing to free the rodents. The discovery of a rat king is exceedingly rare and often considered a bad omen due to the diseases that rats can carry. Historical examples include a specimen found in Germany in 1828, which consisted of 32 rats and is now displayed in a museum. Despite modern skepticism and debates over the natural occurrence of rat kings, the discovery of live instances in recent years, such as in Estonia in 2021, suggests that this phenomenon, while unusual, can indeed happen naturally. So if you see one in the wild, don't be too surprised. However, the best thing to do is to avoid them or to contact animal control. Freeing them yourself is a recipe for disaster. Number 9. Serpent Crowned Goddess. In 2022, a local farmer discovered a 4,500-year-old limestone statue on his property. The ancient artifact measured approximately 8.7 inches tall and featured the Canaanite goddess Anat with a serpent as a crown. In Canaanite mythology, Anat was a prominent deity revered as the goddess of love, beauty, and war. Initially, the statue was found covered in mud. The farmer was quite surprised to discover its significance. Anat, often depicted as a beautiful young girl, was known for her dual nature of fertility and aggressive warfare, earning her a place among the chief deities of the Canaanite pantheon. Number 8. Duck Fertilizer. Now, this isn't really a discovery but more of a breakthrough. In recent years, farmers in Thailand have been commended by many all around the globe for their ingenious ideas to reduce the use of chemical fertilizers. They employed the help of ducks. Yes, you heard that right, ducks known as field-chasing ducks. This practice involves releasing thousands of ducks into rice paddies to naturally control pests and manage crop residue. Every year, after the rice harvest, farmers in regions like Nan Pathum release flocks of khaki Campbell ducks into the flooded fields. These ducks, as young as 20 days old, spend about 5 months roaming from farm to farm. During this period, they devour pests such as cherry snails and apple snails, as well as weeds and leftover rice stubble. This not only reduces the need for chemical pesticides but also helps to fertilize the fields with the ducks' droppings. It's like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. The practice benefits both duck breeders and rice farmers. For breeders, it reduces the cost of feeding the ducks as they forage in the fields. For rice farmers, it significantly cuts down on the use of harmful chemicals, promoting a more sustainable agricultural process. A flock of 10,000 ducks can clean up to a 70-hectare farm in about a week, making the fields easier to plow for the next planting season. Do you think we should start employing this method in more countries? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 7. Rocket. In 2022, an Australian farmer thought for a second that an aerial attack was happening in the skies above his farm in New South Wales' Snowy Mountains region, when he accidentally stumbled upon what looked like spacecraft or aircraft debris embedded in the ground. Several fragments of unknown material were also discovered around the perimeter, which befuddled the poor farmer. It wasn't until months later that the truth was discovered. It turned out that the debris and fragments, including a 10-foot-tall seared black spike, were part of a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft that re-entered the Earth's atmosphere in July 2022. The debris is believed to have come from the unpressurized trunk of the Crew Dragon capsule, which had launched in November 2020 to transport NASA astronauts to the International Space Station. The trunk, designed to carry cargo and support the spacecraft during launch, was jettisoned upon re-entry and was expected to land in the ocean. However, it ended up crash landing in the Australian outback, creating quite a stir among the local community. Luckily, no one was harmed. Number 6. 5,000-year-old tomb of hugging skeletons. In 1896, a farmer and his son discovered what was dubbed a Chamber of K while exploring their family's homestead in the Orkney Islands, an archipelago off Scotland's northeastern coast. Unfortunately, the location of this tomb faded into obscurity until it was rediscovered last year by archaeologists. Needless to say, the tomb was truly a chamber of K with dozens of skeletons dating back to 5,000 years ago. But perhaps the most astonishing discovery was what lay at the bottom of the stone-walled tomb: 2 skeletons that looked like they were hugging. Although archaeologists claimed that the 2 skeletons could have simply been buried at the same time in crouched positions, the fact that they still looked like they were hugging intrigued many and started a flurry of theories. This find is particularly significant given the tomb's near destruction in the 19th century when stones were removed for building materials. The preservation of so many human remains in one place is extremely rare, and researchers continue to preserve and study this tomb, hoping to find valuable information. Now it's time for today's topic. A farmer just discovered something gigantic under his cornfield that shocked the whole world. Who would even think that deep beneath your property lies a historical discovery? A farmer was astonished when he discovered what seemed like the remains of a watercraft beneath his cornfield. This suggests that a long time ago, a body of water existed near his property. Similar watercraft have been discovered in drained bodies of water in the past, which supports the theory that the farmer's property was actually once a passageway for watercraft. Number 5. Bronze Age gold belt. A farmer in the Czech Republic recently unearthed a remarkable Bronze Age artifact while working in his beet field near Opava. The find is a gold belt adorned with intricate cosmological designs, estimated to be around 3,000 years old. The belt, which measures about 20 inches in length, was initially found crumpled and covered in dirt. Upon closer inspection, it revealed concentric circles and row-shaped clasps. Archaeologists believe the belt was likely attached to a leather backing worn by someone of high status within the society, either social or spiritual. This period in Central Europe, spanning roughly from 2000 BC to 1200 BC, was marked by significant cultural exchange and the emergence of complex social hierarchies. Gold items like this belt were often symbols of wealth and power, frequently found in high-status graves or hoards, indicating a form of gift exchange between the elite and possibly even the supernatural. Number 4. The Terracotta Warriors. Today, the Terracotta Warriors are hailed as one of the greatest archaeological discoveries to date. However, it's a lesser-known fact that a group of farmers actually discovered these statues in 1974. A group of farmers in the Shaanxi province of China was desperately searching for water while digging what they hoped would be a well. One of them, known as Yang Jifa, stumbled upon fragments of pottery, which turned out to be parts of the now famous Terracotta warriors. Today, this collection of thousands of life-sized clay soldiers is greatly valued, with no historical records about it, making it quite an unexpected find. Adding to its greatness, today, 2,000 of these soldiers have been excavated, but archaeologists estimate that a staggering 6,000 more are still buried. Number 3. Rare Mastadon Skull. A farmer had the surprise of a lifetime when he stumbled upon a massive bone in 2014. However, instead of letting others know about his discovery, he decided to keep it to himself. It wasn't until years later that authorities and experts got the chance to examine the bone further. It turned out that the rare skull the farmer uncovered was a Pyrenean mastodon. Until this discovery, only a few teeth of the Pyrenean mastodon had been unearthed in the 19th century near the same area. The mastodon, which roamed the region between 11 and 13 million years ago, was a large herbivore similar in shape to modern elephants but distinguished by its 4 tusks, 2 from the upper jaw and 2 from the lower jaw. Now you're probably curious about why the farmer decided to keep it a secret. Well, his reason is quite valid. He claimed that he feared his property might have an influx of fossil hunters, so he kept it a secret as long as he could. Number 2. Little Rainbow Dinosaur. Perhaps you've already heard about this fact, but we have modern dinosaurs among us, birds. You see, birds evolved from meat-eating dinosaurs who lived millions of years ago. If you've seen a shoebill stork, you'd quickly see the resemblance between birds and these prehistoric creatures. The fossils discovered by a farmer in China back in 2018 shed light on one of the many dinosaurs that resemble birds that we see today. While working in his field in China's Hebei province, the farmer unearthed the fossilized remains of a tiny bird-like dinosaur, now known as Kaihong Juji, which translates to rainbow with a big crest in Mandarin. This creature lived a staggering 161 million years ago in the Jurassic period, and it's shaking what we know about dinosaurs. You see, everything we know about these creatures are merely educated guesses. The depictions you see of these prehistoric creatures can be completely different from how they actually looked. After all, we only have fossils to base our depictions on. This discovery, however, revealed that this species of dinosaur had feathers. By analyzing these fossilized feathers, we now know that this dino species had pancake-shaped melanosomes similar to those found in modern hummingbirds. These melanosomes reflect light in such a way that they create iridescent colors, indicating that Kaihong Juji likely had a shimmering rainbow-like appearance on its head, neck, and chest. It probably rivaled the beauty of a modern-day peacock. However, these feathers weren't just for aesthetics. They played a role in its behavior and possibly mating rituals. Researchers suggest that the bright plumage could have been used to attract mates, much like the colorful displays seen in birds today. Additionally, Kaihong Juji had asymmetrical tail feathers, a feature associated with flight control in modern birds. However, unlike today's birds, these asymmetrical feathers were found on its tail rather than its wings. This goes to show that birds weren't much different from dinosaurs millions of years ago. Number 1. Rare Viking Sword. Just earlier this year, a Norwegian man discovered something unexpected while clearing a field on his farm. At first glance, it looked like a bizarrely shaped stone, but luckily, the farmer noticed it wasn't a mere stone. Initially, the farmer mistook the object for an old piece of farm equipment. In fact, he was about to discard it, but luckily he noticed the bizarre shape of the object before it was too late. He quickly contacted the authorities, who confirmed that the artifact was a 1,000-year-old Viking sword from the late Viking Age, roughly between 900 and 1050 AD. Now, what makes this sword more intriguing is the fact that it might be one of the legendary Ulfbert swords. These swords were the greatest blades ever forged, produced in the Frankish Empire known today as parts of Germany and France. These swords were revered for their superior quality. Today, however, they're known for the fact that modern swordsmiths have tried and failed to replicate them time and time again. The Ulfbert swords were marked with the name of the manufacturer, a practice that was rare for that era, making these weapons highly coveted by the Viking elite. Only about 170 Ulfbert swords have been found across Europe, with 45 discovered in Norway. However, this is the first of its kind unearthed in the Rogaland region. The sword measures approximately 14.5 inches in its current form, retaining its handle, crossguard, and part of the blade, while the rest is believed to have been eroded over time. Remarkably, the dense clay in which it was found helped preserve the iron from rusting away completely. X-ray scans of the sword also revealed the contours of the inscription, making this sword exceptionally well preserved. In the past, owning a sword was a privilege reserved for the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in Viking society. Now, these swords are valued not only for their historical worth but also for their rarity. Perhaps through this sword, we'll finally be able to unearth the secrets of the Ulfbert swords. So what do you think about these discoveries? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, check out the other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.